Today, we're going to talk about something that, truth be told, only mature men like you truly understand about women. At this stage in life, experience has taught you that there's much more to female pleasure than what we were led to believe in our younger years. It's not just about the physical aspect, but a blend of emotions, sensations, and most importantly, the connection that can be created. If you're here, it's because you're looking to improve, to learn, and to deepen that understanding that will help transform your intimate life. Because yes, even at 40, 50, 60, or beyond, you can still uncover incredible secrets about pleasure that you never imagined in your younger years. Stay with me because I promise what's coming will change the way you understand sex, attraction, and intimacy. Let's get started. 1. The best-kept secret of female pleasure. Here's the first big discovery. Female pleasure has a secret that many younger men overlook, but mature men like you are beginning to understand better. And that secret has a name, the clitoris. Yes, that small, delicate organ that for many remains a mystery, but whose importance is monumental. Over time, you learn that what matters isn't always the most obvious. And believe me, this applies more than ever here. Think of it like you're listening to a classical piece of music. When we were younger, we might have focused on the rhythm and strength of the louder instruments, like the drums or bass, as if they alone set the tone. But over the years, you've learned to appreciate the subtleties, the soft violin in the background, the subtle melody that truly brings the composition to life. In female pleasure, the clitoris is like that violin, discreet but essential. I remember a conversation I had with a close friend a few years ago, and she told me something that stuck with me. It's not about rushing to the climax, it's about feeling heard and understood. This is a concept that goes beyond sex. Women, in most cases, experience pleasure differently than men because it's not just physical, the journey is just as important as the destination. And this is where the clitoris plays a role, but so does your experience as a mature man. For a long time, we were sold the idea that female pleasure was centered around penetration, but that's only part of the story. In fact, 75% of women need direct clitoral stimulation to reach orgasm. It's not that vaginal orgasms don't exist or don't matter, but the reality is that biologically the clitoris has over 8,000 nerve endings dedicated solely to pleasure, an anatomical luxury that shouldn't be ignored. But here's where things get interesting, and where you, as a mature man, have a significant advantage: patience and attentiveness. Younger men tend to rush, eager to reach the finish line as if it's a sprint. But you already know that true pleasure lies in the marathon, in the subtle moments, the pauses to breathe, the shared intimacy. When you take the time to learn your partner's erogenous zones, when you stop to listen to how her body responds, you can unlock what truly excites her. Imagine you have a safe in front of you. You can't force it open, no matter how hard you try. Every combination is unique, and if you turn the dial carefully, feeling every click, listening to every little movement, you'll eventually open it. That's how female pleasure works. You can't rush in. You have to learn to read the signs, explore with curiosity, and never take anything for granted. With time, you realize that every woman is her own world, and what works for one may not work for another. But that's what makes this stage of life so rich. It's no longer about proving something or impressing anyone, but about connecting. The sensitivity you've developed over the years allows you to see beyond the act itself, to focus on what truly matters to her. The clitoris is just the beginning, but it's key to unlocking a dimension of pleasure you may have overlooked in the past. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that mature men hold a powerful advantage: the wisdom to know that sex isn't about speed or strength, but about presence and dedication. And that's where men are separated from boys. A woman never forgets a man who listens, who takes his time, who genuinely cares about what she enjoys. 2. The ultimate guide to the best oral sex. Now let's talk about something that truly makes the difference between an average experience and one your partner will remember for a long time: oral sex. This is where, once again, maturity and experience play in your favor. And I say this as a woman. There's nothing more powerful than feeling like your partner is fully focused on your pleasure. So take note, because this can deeply change how you connect with her. First, let me be clear. Oral sex isn't a go straight for the prize technique. Mature men understand this better than anyone because they know that anticipation is part of the pleasure. And this is key. Oral sex, like any other form of intimacy, is a blend of communication, patience, and above all, attentiveness. It's not just about what you do with your mouth or hands, but how you tune in to your partner's sensations throughout. Here's a metaphor to help you visualize it better. Oral sex is like playing a string instrument. If you press too hard or too softly, you won't get the right melody. You need to feel the rhythm, adapt to how your partner's body responds, and adjust the intensity based on the signals she gives you. There's no one-size-fits-all formula, as every woman is different, but the men who truly excel are the ones who know how to listen with their senses. Now let's talk technique. Something many men underestimate is the power of slow, controlled movements. You don't need to constantly change speed or vary your actions. In fact, most women respond better to a steady rhythm. This doesn't mean you can't be creative, but maintaining a continuous, slow pace builds up much more intense pleasure. Also, something that might seem obvious but is absolutely crucial, your tongue is your best ally. Don't underestimate the power of gentle, circular, and firm movements. And I'm not just talking about the clitoris, but also other erogenous zones that are often overlooked. The inner thighs, the lower abdomen, even the hips. All these areas are sensitive spots that prepare your partner for something deeper. Remember, the road to climax isn't a straight line, it's a journey to be savored with her. Here's a trick you might not know. Many women enjoy it when, while stimulating them orally, you also use your hands to gently massage other areas. This is where your creativity comes into play. Because the skin is so sensitive, it becomes an extension of sensation, and combining different types of stimulation can take the pleasure to another level. This brings me to something fundamental I mentioned earlier: communication. There's nothing better than asking, but with subtlety. Don't be afraid to ask your partner what she likes, or if she prefers something in particular. A simple, "Does this feel good?" or "Would you like me to keep going?" at the right moment shows that you care, and it will allow you to adjust what you're doing in real time. Every woman is different, and what works one time might not work the next. The art of a great lover lies in adapting, not memorizing a set of moves. I'll share something personal. A friend once told me what surprised her most about her partner was that he was never in a rush. That simple fact made everything more intense, more profound. She knew he was enjoying it just as much as she was, that every move was intentional, and honestly, that changes everything. Mature men know it's not just about finishing the task, but about creating an experience where both are fully immersed. Your full attention and patience can turn something ordinary into an explosion of sensations for her. This is where a connection is created that goes beyond the physical because she feels that you're there, fully present, enjoying the journey as much as she is. In summary, take your time, keep the rhythm, use all your senses, and most importantly, communicate. These are the ingredients to make oral sex much more than just a technique, turning it into one of the most pleasurable and memorable experiences you can give your partner. 3. Emotional connection is more important than the orgasm. When we think of intimacy, often the first thing that comes to mind is the orgasm, as if it's the grand finale, the goal to reach. But mature men know something younger ones haven't learned yet. True pleasure, the kind that stays with you, doesn't come solely from the climax, but from the emotional connection. And that connection is what makes everything, absolutely everything, take on a deeper meaning. Imagine sex as a tango. If you focus only on reaching the last step, you'll miss the magic of the movement, the closeness, the synchronization that happens between two people. The passion isn't in the end of the dance, but in how every moment feels leading up to it. The orgasm is just one part of the whole, and while it's important, True satisfaction is born from the emotional connection built throughout the experience. This is a concept many men overlook, but with time, you've learned that making a woman feel understood and emotionally connected is the most powerful ingredient in intimacy. Emotional connection strengthens not just the physical bond, but also opens the door to a much deeper intimacy. When she feels that you understand her, that you're listening, that you're present not just with your body but with your mind and emotions, the pleasure that comes from that experience goes far beyond any orgasm. Something you might not know is that many women find more pleasure in the moments leading up to the sexual act. Foreplay isn't just physical preparation, it's a time to build that emotional bond, to bring both of you into a unique rhythm. The Carezza method, for example, which focuses on practicing intimacy without making the orgasm the primary goal, promotes a much deeper experience. It's a way to savor each moment, every touch, without the pressure to reach a climax quickly. This is where the mature man stands out. You know that connection isn't built overnight. It's the result of honest conversations, trust, and making your partner feel safe and valued. Because when a woman feels emotionally connected, her body responds much more intensely. Emotional connection is the true aphrodisiac. A study from the University of Toronto found that couples with a stronger emotional bond report a more satisfying sex life. Interestingly, many of those couples mentioned that the orgasm stopped being the main focus. For them, emotional presence during the act is what truly made the difference. This becomes even more crucial in long-term relationships. If you've been with your partner for years, you know that keeping the passion alive can be a challenge. But here's a key. Foreplay doesn't end in the bedroom. It starts with the small daily interactions, how you make her feel loved, desired, and understood. A simple gesture, a kind word, or a gentle touch can be as powerful as any technique in bed. As a mature man, you have the advantage of experience, of knowing that sex isn't just a matter of bodies, but of souls. When both of you are emotionally connected, pleasure becomes something shared, not individual. And trust me, that stays in a woman's memory far longer than any orgasm. So, to take your intimacy to the next level, focus on nurturing that emotional connection. Make her feel heard, valued, and cherished at all times. If you do that, not only will your sex life improve, but you'll be creating a deeper, more satisfying intimacy where both of you can enjoy far beyond the physical. Remember, the orgasm is a great finale, but the emotional connection is what makes the journey truly worthwhile. 4. The myths about sexuality you need to break today. The world of sex is full of myths, many of which have been circulating for years and have led to misunderstandings about how women experience pleasure. But if you're here, it's because you're looking to move beyond those old tales and uncover the truth. Mature men like you know that the key to a satisfying intimate life is staying well-informed and breaking away from those false beliefs. One of the most common myths is the idea that penetration is the only path to orgasm. We've touched on this before, but it's worth repeating. The majority of women don't achieve orgasm solely through penetration. Many require direct clitoral stimulation to reach climax, and even then, each woman is different. Believing that orgasm depends entirely on penetration is a mistake that limits both your experience and hers. Another persistent myth is that women aren't as sexual as men. Nothing could be further from the truth. The fact is, women have sexual desires just as intense as men, but they often express them differently. Women are deeply attracted to emotional connection, to the details and the context in which intimacy happens. This doesn't mean that desire isn't there, it just might be more nuanced. If you're not paying attention to the signals your partner gives you, you might think her libido is low, when, in reality, she simply needs to feel emotionally connected for her desire to fully awaken. A myth that has also caused confusion is that women experience pleasure the same way men do. Physically, men and women function differently, and this affects how they experience pleasure. While many men have a more direct and quick response, women tend to enjoy a build-up of sensations. This is why foreplay is so important. It's not just about warming up, but creating an atmosphere where she feels comfortable and desired. And here's the secret. Most women enjoy foreplay just as much as the act itself. So breaking the idea that orgasm is the only goal will allow you to enjoy a much richer and more prolonged intimacy. Another myth we need to debunk immediately is that age decreases sexual desire. While it's true that hormones change over time, sexual desire can remain strong or even grow in mature relationships. Women over 40, 50 or more can continue to enjoy an active and pleasurable sex life as long as they feel emotionally and physically connected. In fact, many women find that as they age, sex becomes more gratifying because they no longer have the same pressures they did when they were younger. Lastly, there's the myth of physical perfection. We often think that women are concerned about how our bodies look during sex, and while we all want to feel attractive, the reality is that what matters most to them is the attitude and confidence you project. You don't need a perfect body or a strict script of positions to be a great lover. What really counts is that you're present, focused on what they enjoy, and that you take the time to discover what makes your partner feel most desired and comfortable. Breaking these myths not only improves your sex life, but also frees you from false expectations that can lead to anxiety or frustration. Understanding how your partner's body and mind truly work will allow you to enjoy a deeper, more satisfying, and more authentic intimacy. Remember, an informed and attentive man is far more attractive and confident in intimacy. So, if there's any myth still lingering in your mind, it's time to let it go and embrace the truth about how women experience and enjoy pleasure. 5. The science of attraction. How to seduce with your scent and style. Attraction goes far beyond what we can see with our eyes. Sure, physical appearance matters, but what many men don't realize is that factors like your natural scent and personal style have a profound impact on how women perceive you. Science backs this idea, and here I'll show you how to use these elements to your advantage. Let's start with scent. We're not just talking about the cologne you wear, but your natural body scent. Studies conducted by the Monell Chemical Senses Center have shown that women are particularly sensitive to smell when it comes to sexual attraction. This has to do with pheromones, chemical substances naturally emitted by the body that can influence how you're perceived. While we can't control pheromones, maintaining impeccable hygiene and finding a cologne that complements your natural scent can make a big difference. Remember, subtle and soft fragrances are usually more effective than overpowering ones. Now let's talk about personal care. Something mature men understand better than younger ones is that your style and how you present yourself have a huge impact on attraction. You don't need the perfect body, but taking care of your appearance shows that you value yourself, which automatically makes you more attractive. Keeping a well-groomed haircut, wearing clothes that fit well, and exercising regularly are small details that don't go unnoticed. Style isn't just about what you wear, but how you wear it. Women, in general, value confidence, and your personal style can reflect that. It's not about following trends or dressing like a fashion model, but about projecting self-assurance through your appearance. Here's something interesting. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that self-confidence is one of the most attractive traits to women, even more than physical looks. Your lifestyle also influences how you're perceived. Leading an active life, taking care of your health, and having passions outside of the relationship can make you seem dynamic and exciting. Regular exercise not only keeps you in shape, but it boosts your testosterone levels, which can increase both your energy and attractiveness. Plus, exercise has another important benefit. It improves your mood and helps reduce stress, which translates into a more relaxed and positive attitude, something women definitely appreciate. Body language is another aspect that's often overlooked. How you move, stand, and maintain eye contact can be as attractive as anything you say. The key here is to project confidence without arrogance, keeping an open posture, walking with purpose, And most importantly, smiling genuinely are subtle but powerful signals that you are a self-assured man. So, if you want to seduce successfully, don't underestimate the power of the small details. Your scent, personal style, and how you carry yourself all play a significant role in attraction. And the best part is that these are things you can easily control without needing drastic changes. With a little attention to personal care and the confidence you project, you'll be one step ahead in creating that natural and deep attraction. Remember, attractiveness isn't measured solely by physical traits. Women are looking for something more, something that conveys confidence, self-care, and authenticity. And these are qualities that, as a mature man, you've already developed. Use that advantage to your benefit. 6. The power of letting your imagination run wild. By this stage in life, you already know that monotony can be the silent enemy of any relationship. And in intimacy, it's no different. This is where creativity and fantasy come into play, offering a way to revitalize your connection with your partner and keep the spark alive, even after many years together. Mature men like you have been through enough experiences to understand that sex isn't just a physical act, it's also about the mind. Fantasy and creativity aren't just tools to maintain interest, but also to deepen intimacy. Incorporating new elements, whether physical or emotional, can transform the dynamic of your relationship. When I talk about fantasy, I don't mean complex or exaggerated scenarios. Sometimes, simply sharing an idea or desire that you haven't expressed before can open new doors. Women, just like men, have fantasies and desires, but they may not always communicate them. This is where your experience gives you an advantage. You know how to listen, you know when the moment is right to suggest something different, and most importantly, you know how to create an atmosphere of trust. Something many long-term couples discover is that a change of scenery can work wonders. You don't need an exotic location or an extravagant situation. Sometimes, simply changing the pace or the usual setting can make intimacy feel completely new. Try something as simple as stepping away from your usual routines and spending more time on foreplay, using words that ignite desire before any physical contact even begins. Another way to be creative is by exploring new positions. This doesn't mean you need to become an acrobat, but adding a bit of variety can bring back a sense of novelty. It also shows something important, that you still have the desire and energy to explore with your partner. Women appreciate when a man shows interest in continuing to discover new ways of pleasure, because it speaks to your dedication to the relationship. One tip that often gets overlooked is the power of shared fantasies. If there's something both of you have wanted to try, now is the time to talk about it. Communication is key, and as a mature man, you already know that creating a safe space to discuss these topics can take intimacy to a whole new level. By openly discussing fantasies, you not only open the door to new experiences, but also strengthen trust and closeness. Exploring creativity in sex doesn't always require complex actions or elaborate words. Sometimes, simply doing something unexpected can reignite passion. From surprising your partner with a different touch to changing the pace of the encounter, these small gestures can be incredibly powerful. Another area many men don't explore enough is the importance of the senses. Playing with sight, touch, and sound can be an excellent way to add creativity to the experience. Sometimes, something as simple as changing the lighting or adding music can transform the atmosphere. These small details may seem insignificant, but they create an environment conducive to pleasure, where both of you feel free to explore. Here's the great advantage you have as a mature man. You're no longer solely focused on the end result. You understand that the experience is what matters, that the journey toward pleasure is what makes a relationship rich and fulfilling. Using creativity to make each encounter unique, to make it a little different, shows your dedication and commitment to nurturing the relationship without falling into routine. In summary, don't underestimate the power of fantasy and creativity. Keeping intimacy alive isn't just about technique, it's about playfulness and connection. As a man with experience, you have the wisdom to know when to innovate, when to surprise, and how to make each encounter special. So keep exploring, keep suggesting, and remember that imagination is one of the most potent ingredients of desire. 7. What no one told you after 50. Here's a truth that many didn't tell you. Sex doesn't end when the grey hairs start coming in. On the contrary, it can get much better. Sure, the body changes, but that doesn't mean desire or satisfaction should disappear. Mature men like you already know that age brings something incredibly valuable: experience, patience, and the ability to laugh at yourself. And believe me, that's just as attractive as any toned muscle. Now let's get serious. As the years go by, the body starts sending a few bills your way, and you might notice that some things don't work quite the same. Erections aren't as automatic as they were in your 20s, and maybe fatigue kicks in a little faster. But guess what? That doesn't mean your sex life has to stop. It just needs some smart adjustments. First, let's talk about something many men prefer to avoid: health. Staying physically active isn't just good for your heart, it's key to a fulfilling sex life. Studies from Harvard Medical School show that regular exercise helps maintain erectile function and improves mood. So, if things are getting a bit harder, or not as hard, taking a walk or lifting weights won't just benefit your health, it'll give your intimate life a boost. And if anyone asks why you're so focused on your squats, just give them a knowing smile. Here's another uncomfortable truth no one talks about: natural lubrication changes over time for both you and your partner. But there's no need for drama, because thankfully, we live in an age with simple solutions. Lubricant is your best friend at this stage, and I assure you, a little extra help can make things feel just as good as before, or better. So don't try to play tough. A small bottle on your nightstand can work wonders. And now, let's bust some myths about aging and sex with a bit of humor. If you thought that once you hit 50, sex was going to fade away like a light bulb, someone blatantly lied to you. The truth is, for many couples, sex after 50 is even more satisfying. Why? Because you're no longer so worried about societal expectations, perfect physical performance, or the anxieties that come with youth. Let's face it, by now, you know what you want and what you don't. And the best part is that you're much more willing to enjoy the process without the pressure of meeting a standard. Another thing that improves with age: communication. At this point, conversations about what you like and don't like are much easier and more honest. There's no time to play guessing games about what's going through your partner's mind, and vice versa. And that's a big win, because clear and direct communication is the key to a much richer sex life. If we're still guessing at 50 and beyond, something's definitely off. Lastly, let's sprinkle in a little humor to ease the fear of aging. If you've ever worried about the phrase, "the best years are behind you," I'll tell you something unexpected. The best years are now, because now you have everything the younger crowd doesn't: experience, confidence, and the ability to enjoy without rushing. Sex isn't just about physical energy, though that helps. It's about emotional connection, mutual confidence, and the ability to laugh at the little slips and quirks. Who said a few wrinkles can't be sexy? So, if you've ever wondered if sex changes after 50, the answer is yes. But for the better, as long as you're willing to adapt a few things, and, most importantly, continue enjoying it with the same passion as ever. Age isn't an obstacle, it's an opportunity to explore new ways of pleasure and connect with your partner on deeper levels. Remember, if you can laugh at the little changes that come with the years, you're more than ready to enjoy an intimate life that keeps getting better with time. Because at the end of the day, humor and confidence are the best aphrodisiacs. And there you have it. In the end, intimate life doesn't fade with age. It transforms, it becomes richer, and, if I may say so, it gets far more interesting. You, as a mature man, have already walked a long path and possess a wisdom that many younger men can't even imagine. You know that pleasure isn't just about the physical, it's about connection, communication, and of course the ability to laugh at the little stumbles along the way. My name is Celia, and I want this to be a space where we can talk openly about these important topics, without filters, but always with respect. Together, I want us to find ways to improve our everyday quality of life, not just in intimacy, but in everything we do. Because in the end, every small change we make in ourselves reflects in our relationships and well-being. If this is your first time on the channel, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming topics we'll be discussing. And if you've made it this far, it means you take your personal growth seriously, and that deserves recognition. So, to see who the committed ones are that stayed until the end, comment with the phrase, "I love wisdom." I'd love to read your comments and know who's with me on this journey of self-discovery. And don't leave without sharing this video with your loved ones. There might be someone in your life who needs to hear these words today and gain a new perspective. Sometimes, a little advice can make a big difference. See you in the next video.